Welcome back to the collab series here at Hiyield. I'm Emil, the marketing lead that is going out to explore some of the most exciting startups in this new digital world. If you haven't seen the last few, head over to our YouTube channel and you can see all of them right there. Today I'm joined with a startup company called Data Duopoly. They're in our home turf, based here in Cornwall. In fact, they're a startup straight out of Falmouth Launchpad, a startup program that we work very close with. The founders of Data Duopoly is another great insight to the fact that you don't have to be a techie to become the founder of a great tech idea. You have the idea, you get the team, you find the resources to make it happen, which is exactly what Falmouth Launchpad does. It gives you the tools to make your idea happen. Like I said, the founders of Data Duopoly took part in the Falmouth Launchpad program, and they're here today to tell me all about what Data Duopoly is setting out to achieve. Their strapline, revolutionising any visitor experience in any venue worldwide. Well, how do they do this? It's through technology, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. Let's get into the interview with these awesome two founders of Data Duopoly. Cue the intro. As I like to start on these interview series, who are you and what is your role at Data Duopoly?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Tanavi Athinandan. I'm the CEO and co-founder, along with Erin Morris of Data Duopoly. And we at Data Duopoly are on a mission to revolutionize the visitor experience in any venue worldwide. And what that means is that we were sick and tired of being stuck in bottlenecks and queuing at visitor attractions when everyone grabs the paper map, sees the sign, turn left, and just ends up following the same set of people around a venue. So we thought there's got to be a better way, and how can we bring the digital with the personal experience? So that's where our Explore It product range was created. And for the venue side, we wanted to provide them with the data analytics of understanding where the visitor was on site and shifting people away from the busy areas. And with COVID, that became more important than ever. So we've developed new feature sets to really help venues reopen safely, and we're thrilled and exciting to be expanding at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Tanavi's done a great job there of saying what we do. But yeah, I'm Erin, the other co-founder and CCO, Chief Creative Officer of Data Duopoly. So I'm sort of in charge for the product development side of things, all the graphic illustrations, all the illustrative maps, and anything creative, really. That's me.
Could you tell me about your professional backgrounds that has got you to become a founder at Data Duopoly?
Yeah, so we both come from very different backgrounds. So I actually studied at Falmouth University doing animation and visual effects. So my background is I'm a 2D animator. Made a film in my final year, spent a year traveling around to different film festivals, went to the Miami Jewish Film Festival and won the best short film competition out there, which was great. And then I knew I wanted to stay in Cornwall, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's where I joined Launchpad. And sort of from there, Data Duopoly was born really. And here we are 2.5 years, nearly 3 years later.
For myself, slightly different background, not as creative. So I actually studied economics at Cambridge University and then became a chartered accountant at Ernst & Young based down in London. Thought I was working so hard for someone else, so I'd love to start up my own company, but didn't see a potential co-founder in my immediate social group. So joined the Launchpad program, and that's where I met Erin. And together, Data Duopoly's been born, and 2.5 years, we haven't killed each other yet. So I think we're doing okay.
That's lovely to know a little bit about your background, but now on to Data Duopoly itself. There's a story behind every idea for a startup. Could you tell me yours?
Yeah, so really for us, it was actually bringing both of our complementary skill sets together. I come from a very data-driven background and Erin's from a very creative mindset. So we thought, how can we improve the visitor experience and really create something unique and gamified? And what we didn't want people to do is think, oh, this is something that's distracting from the physical environment, but how can it complement it? And that's really how Explore was born, from a hatred of queues and bottlenecks, but actually from the need for the data and analytics for the venue. And something at the very core of the product is that all the data collected is anonymous. And we truly mean that. We only track a phone ID and we don't know who you are. And we thought that was really important because we want to democratize the information sharing process. We want to give value to the visitors for their data being used in the form of exclusive discounts to move away from the busy areas and actually real-time information that they can use to make the most of their day out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there like a single moment that you were like, oh, this is a great idea ever, that just sort of like triggered this?
Yeah, it's a funny one really. So from Launchpad, I'm not sure how much you know about the Launchpad program, but they partner you up with industry partners, and our partner was the Eden Project. So that's sort of where we started. We said, they came to us with a range of things that they wanted to address, and a range of things they wanted to know more about. And that's sort of where we went away then and came up with the idea. And once we built our MVP and had a bit of validation, we thought actually this is something that could go not only in work in attractions or venues, but it could actually work outdoors. It could work county-wide, it could work in so many different venues, retail, airports, etc. And so I think that moment for us was like, yeah, this is where we're going. Let's get cracking. Yeah.
Have you tested your idea to market to help validate your initial idea? Did you take an MVP approach, putting an actual product in front of your customers and users? Or did you take another approach? I'd love to hear it.
So we had a trial with the Eden Project back in July 2019 now, and that was we built out a basic MVP app product that could be downloaded by visitors, just to really prove that we could route and shift people around the site. And we actually found that 33% of those users responded to monetary offers sent, which was great because it meant that we could shift a third of the visitor population at any given time. And then 95% of those also surveyed users said that they would use the app again if it was offered at a different attraction. So that was brilliant for us to get the validation to say, yes, okay, let's start building on those features, build the app out a bit more, and move from there, really.
How has the process been trying to find your right technology partner or team?
Yeah, I think that's certainly been an interesting one for us. While we both are non-technical founders, I think it's actually been an advantage in one sense, because when we approach a problem from the user experience side of things, we think, how can it be the best from a data point of view and a creative side of view? But actually, then we sort of think, how can the technology work for us? Rather than maybe having those initial constraints saying this is the easiest way to do or the most way. We think of things in a very different way, which could be quite exciting. But we've actually had the good fortune of working with some fantastic development agencies and some fantastic contractors. And we're really excited to announce we're actively recruiting for 3 new authors to join our team to build that technical team in-house. And we're just going from strength to strength, I would say. And we've had a fantastic technical advisor from the Launchpad program, Ben Sewell, on our team, our sort of high-level technical strategy, and our investors have also been a very active role in this as well.
What has been your hardest struggle starting up Data Duopoly so far?
I mean, it's as with any startup, it's a roller coaster of emotions. So I think one day we normally find we're doing really well, and then we say, well, we're going too well at the moment, something's going to come, and then something happens. I think everything, as Hannah said, it's just been a massive learning curve. I think at the beginning, when we first started out, we didn't really understand how technology worked, how we needed to interact with the development team. I mean, I had previous experience of working within some sort of team, but for film, not for making an app. So I think, yeah, that for us was probably the biggest struggle that we've had. But also I'd say with the MVP, it's just learning that actually things do take quite a lot of time, and you need to go through the iterative process. You test something, you redo it, you go back, you test something, you redo it, that sort of thing. Whereas I think we maybe had in our heads when we first started out that it would be, it's built, here we go, ready to go, which obviously is never the case. But yeah, that's from my point of view. I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Tanvi.
Yeah, I completely second what Erin said. That has been a learning curve and a really exciting one. And I think one thing we sort of said is fail often and fail fast. I think that first MVP build, when we were doing the testing, I think we really learned, we almost have a sense of perfectionism about us. We don't want to show it when it was great. The way to do it, just get it out there, even if it doesn't look perfect yet, because then you can test it and you can make the iterations much earlier on. So I'd say that's one of the biggest learning curves. And in terms of challenges, I think like every other business, when the COVID pandemic hit, we were sort of thrown into remote working, and we were such a social bunch and very much in the studio every day, had our catch-ups over tea and coffee. And suddenly we had to adapt to seeing each other on a screen for about 4 months straight and having sort of virtual teas and coffees. So I think that was a big shock, but it also showed us that we could work with a wide variety of people. And actually one of the great developers we're working with at the moment is in the Philippines. And I don't think if it hadn't been for lockdown and actually embracing remote working, we wouldn't have necessarily done that before. We would have been set on, we want someone in the office. And equally, using our technology as a young startup to try and help venues during this COVID pandemic has really been quite an exciting thing. I think you always think, what can we do as a small company to help those around us? And we might not have the biggest budgets, but what we can do is actually use what we do for good, and that's been really quite fulfilling.
What exciting steps are next for Data Duopoly?
Oh, well, this is an exciting one, I think. We have recently just closed our seed round of about £250,000, which is really exciting. So for us, the next steps is recruiting on our new team members and growing our team. And also we have some exciting projects in the pipeline. So we're currently working with visitor attractions and we're working with some fantastic partners at the moment, but we're actually entering industries, and we're thrilled to say we're helping a university based in the Southwest help their students and staff return to campus safely. So I think over the next 12 months, that'll be really exciting to see how our Explore Campus product range sort of comes to life and is put into action. And then what we'd love to do is work with as many venues as possible.
Could you tell me your experience with Falmouth Launchpad? Was it worth it? How did they help you? Was it fun? And how hard was it?
Yeah, I definitely think it was worth it. So I joined with no previous business experience whatsoever. Tanavi had a bit more than me, but neither of us had set up our own business before. So it was really great to have that learning curve. You know, I learned lots about business and finance and accounting and how you raise money and investors and all that sort of thing. And I think Tanavi on the other side learned all about the creative side of things and how we build products and how we design and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I definitely think it was worth it. We got partnered together based on our skill sets, and it obviously worked because we're still going. And I think it's really interesting actually through the incubation program to work out who fits well with each other. You're partnered on your skills and your personalities, but actually when you get into a room, it can sometimes still not work. So I think, yeah, we've definitely pulled through, and yeah, it was definitely worth it. Definitely.
I think I agree with Erin completely. I've learned so much on the program, and I think it's sort of, you might not find a potential co-founder in your immediate social group of friends, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But getting exposed to so many talented individuals with differing skill sets to yourself, I think that just is an area ripe for sort of creativity and innovation. And I think just being part of that community is really exciting. And I think there was a moment when Erin and I were going through our industry challenges, thinking what to do. We had some internal sort of team changes within the incubator. And we really sort of looked at each other and said, oh, can we do this? And actually, because we were in such a supportive environment, we said, let's give it a go. And that's been fantastic because we're still here 2.5 years later, working with some fantastic partners, working with some fantastic investors, and really driving the business forward with some ambitious growth plans. And I don't think that would have been possible without the sort of belief and support from the outset, from sort of the tech community in Cornwall and also the Launchpad Incubator program.
What one piece of advice do you have for your younger self when you were starting up Data Duopoly?
Not to worry as much. Just give it a go. You know, the whole point of you joining Launchpad is because you don't know what you're doing. That's why you join, to learn, to do your masters in entrepreneurship at the same time. So I would say, yeah, be a bit easier on myself and just go for it.
Yeah, I would definitely echo those thoughts as well. I think definitely just go. I think don't care what anyone else thinks, just try your best. And I think fail often and fail fast. I think we all have that inner bit of perfectionism, at least certainly I do. But actually just operate in an agile way. Just try it out. If it doesn't work, then you can move on rather than waiting until you think it's perfect. Because at that moment in time, the market's probably moved on. I'll go for one that I can think of, is actually just accept the fact it's going to be a roller coaster, that you're going to have the highs and lows. And if you can, get a co-founder, because the amount of times it's been great to have someone to commiserate with or celebrate with just keeps that momentum up. And you can really sort of thrive off each other as well in terms of energy level. It's just great at the end of the day to say, look what we've achieved and look how far we've come, even though there were really low points and high points along the journey. And I think if you just remember that every day is not going to go great and every day is not going to go bad, but there's going to be an amazing sort of story in between, and you've just got to enjoy it and do your best every day. I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Just go for it, because if you don't do it now, there's never going to be a great time to do it.
And then maybe from my point of view, I'd say, yeah, just have a bit more faith that you can actually do it. I think, you know, it's quite daunting when you go into a big room and people ask, oh, what do you do? What's your business? And you think sometimes, I think we've both gone into a room and thought, oh, actually, we're not, you know, maybe we're not quite at that stage yet and we haven't quite reached there. But it's like, actually, if you tell people, people are genuinely either really interested or they'll give you some advice or they'll say, oh, you should go and talk to this person, especially in the Southwest. I think everyone's really well connected. So the more people you talk to, the further you go, really, which I think is definitely what we found. Word of mouth has been brilliant. So yeah, I'd say that probably.
And that is a wrap. Thank you so much, Data Duopoly, for joining me on this. It's so nice to have a local startup down here in Cornwall. They really are on a mission to revolutionise visitor experience. In fact, you might even see them at your next place that you visit. Once again, an awesome interview with an exciting startup. The insights from both the founders was amazing, and I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing in the future. Thank you for joining me, and if you're looking for a tech agency like us just to chat about an idea, we've got a friendly team that is ready just to have a conversation. I'll see you guys on the flip side.